Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be talking about Siku, the polar bear. This is a polar bear that has an allergy issue, and there's a study about why this is going on. It may be that the zoo animals are also well cared for they develop allergies as a side effect. In 2018, staff at Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago began to notice something unusual about a male polar bear named Siku. He was losing hair, revealing patches of black skin underneath, evidently itchy. He was scratching and rubbing himself against the enclosure. Catherine Gamble, the zoo's director of veterinary medicine, had a hunch who was wrong. Allergies. But what would a polar bear be allergic to? Gamble and her colleagues anesthetized Siku and conducted a skin test, injecting small amounts of various allergy-provoking substances into his skin. Siku's skin reacted against the house mites, as well as elm, mulberry, and red cider pollen. Oddly enough, one of the things that he initially showed a very strong response to in his skin was actually human hair dander, Gamble recalls. We often think that allergies only affect people, but a broad range of other animals can also develop them. That includes pet dogs, cats, in which experts say allergies are on the rise, but also everything from rhinoceros, bats, dolphins, chimpanzees, and rhesus monkey. Lincoln Park staff say they have seen allergy affected black leopards, fennec foxes, Sakai monkeys, Japanese macaques, and black bears. Quote, for a long time, studies of animals have been used to better understand health conditions in people, but allergies are a rare case where lessons learned in humans may help animals, Andrew Flies says. Fortunately for the itchy animals living in captivity, like Siku, animal allergies are treatable, just like in humans. But these causes may also tell us something deeper about how and why allergies develop. Scientists speculate that animals get allergies from similar reasons as people in many Western countries. For example, especially those living in cities who are currently experiencing a rise in allergies. Some experts blame the fact that pets, as well as farm and zoo animals, are increasingly being raised in man made environments where they're less exposed to the parasites, microbes, and other pathogens that they evolved with, causing their immune system to go wary. Quote, in dogs and cats, the numbers definitely have gone up, as the numbers in people have gone up, says Annette Peterson, a veterinary dermatologist at Michigan State University. Quote, I wouldn't be surprised if more zoo animals are getting allergies too, she adds. Although no research has yet looked into whether or not this case, if it is the case or not. Allergy symptoms can vary across animals. Humans and other primates that inhale allergy causing substances through the nose often develop hay fever type symptoms with discharge, sneezing, and weepy eyes. But most animals absorb allergy provoking substances through the skin and develop skin conditions, says Andrew Rosenberg, a veterinary dermatologist and director of medical operations at the Animal Dermatology Group, a US based veterinary company. The cats Rosenberg sees will often scratch their face and neck and tear out hair or develop pink, black, or crust pimples on their bodies. Allergic dogs will lick the itchy paws and scratch at armpits and other areas and tend to develop Ear infections. Horses can break out in hives. Occasionally, Rosenberg also sees allergic zoo animals, like the itchy female rhinoceroses, and her calf from New York's Bronx Zoo that developed severe rashes, bloody ulcerations, and weeping infections. Put simply, in layman's terms, allergies occur when the immune system, which is supposed to protect from harmful parasites or bacteria or viruses, mistakenly produce an exaggerated response to harmless substances like peanuts or pollen. It's unclear what actually and exactly is causing the current rise in allergies among people, while some experts use to solely blame the fact that humans are increasingly growing up in a cleaner, more hygienic environments where they're less exposed to microbes, that in the wild research is now pointing to a wider set of factors that also involves the loss of important microbes and parasites that live in and are in our bodies, says Andrea Graham, a parasitologist at Princeton University. Quote, it may be that zoo animals are so well cared for, they develop allergies as a side effect. As I said previously, these can be treated. Frequent cleaning and soaps likely contributes to our reduced exposure to these organisms, alongside the use of antibiotic drugs and ointments, greater distancing from the domesticated animals and parasite-free food, Graham says. People can take some steps to help reduce the likelihood of allergies. However, the loss of certain parasites and microbes in our gut may be particularly consequential. Scientists believe that these used to play an important role in our biology by suppressing or modulating our immune system in order to avoid being attacked by it, says Graham. Now, without these organisms to rein in and train our immune system response, our immune system is more likely to go in overdrive, including against harmless pathogens, she adds. Scientists also believe that early childhood exposure to microbes and parasites is especially important for training the immune system to correctly discriminate between harmful and harmless substances and mount an appropriate response. Early life is really important for getting the tuning of your immune system right, Graham says. Some of the best evidence of this theory comes from studies of Amish populations in the US. One in 2016 study compared Amish children in Indiana state who use traditional farming practices and are exposed to lots of microbes through the interactions with farm animals and house dust. The children from Hurrit communities in South Dakota who are highly industrialized farming practices and live in households less exposed to dust and animals. Though both populations were genetically very similar, quote, the rate of allergies was about 4 times higher in the Hutterites who had taken the modern industrial farming, says Andrew Flies, an immunologist in the University of Tasmania's Menes Institute of Medical Research. Files, Peterson, Graham, and Rosenberg all suspect that animals kept in households, farms, and zoos might develop allergies for similar reasons. They typically get dewormed and vaccinated to prevent infections and are generally less exposed to the bacteria and parasites they evolved with compared to their relatives in the wild, Graham says. For zoo animals, Peterson says the food they're eating is parasite free and probably not healthy bacteria contaminated. Compare that to bacteria smothered cadaver, a lion who eats the Serengeti, probably together with prey's microbe and parasite containing guts and all kinds of bacteria and flies and like animals in Africa like the lion, they don't seem to have as much allergies as the animals in captivity allegedly. I would like to see a very broad study on this to really confirm this, in my opinion, but I do believe this is true what they're saying. In other words, it may be that animals are well cared for in zoos, they develop allergies as a side effect. While no one has yet published a specific study looking into this, like I just said, flies and others suspect that allergies are more common in these more human environments than in the wilderness. In the wild, allergies might affect survival of animals. For instance, if allergic animals scratch themselves and develop infections, Fly says, Peterson recalls a lion with allergies she once treated, who had developed a bad ear infection. If he can't hear well in the wild, if the ears are plugged with pus and stuff from infection, that would obviously be a major disadvantage, she said. For these reasons, allergies may have disappeared from wild populations. But that theory is tough to prove. Animals in the wild may well have allergies, Gamble says, but we would have to be less likely to spot them. Because basically, what they're saying, it would be less likely to spot them. And I think that is very true. What may have contributed to Siku's allergies, Gamble adds, is the fact that he had been moved to Chicago 2 years before he started developing them. Often, if a person moves to a new environment where they're exposed to pollens that their bodies have never seen before, they have a response to it, she said. Other factors may be contributing to allergies in animals. Rosenberg says that in his clinic in the Northeast US, where he's seen rising cases of pet allergies, this may be linked to climate change, they claim, which they say is causing higher pollen counts and longer allergy seasons. Quote, it's my impression that we're seeing more common allergies and we're seeing more severe allergies than ever before, he says. And Siku, the polar bear, received a similar treatment, receiving a combination of allergy provoking substances mixed into organic honey. The licking of which helped the substance get absorbed through the soft tissue of his mouth. Honey has added benefit of containing some local pollen in itself, Gamble said. And sure enough, during another allergy test 36 months after the treatment, Siku was much less reactive to the substances he had previously been allergic to, including human hair dander. For a long time, studies of animals have been used to better understand health conditions in people, but allergies are a rare cause, where lessons learned in humans may help animals, Flies says. One lesson is that the value of being exposed to rich community of microorganisms as many people turn to probiotics for their health benefits, including a reduction in allergies. Perhaps researchers can find a way to the same for animals, farm animals and pets at risk of developing allergies, says Graham. He says, I'm hopeful that more and more people will study it because I do think we're still battling against this idea that clean is always healthier. And this is an interesting article. And yeah, I think that it's good to build an immunity to something in your body so allergies don't exactly happen. But I wasn't completely aware that the clean environments can cause allergies in animals, and it's good for us to adapt and be able to be used to these things to, in theory, according to them, reduce allergies. And I don't know if humans always had allergies, which I believe they did, but the circumstances we are in now may cause them to be worse. So hopefully more studies come out about this between animals and humans, and that allergies can, especially in this situation, can be solved and help the animals and everybody. And comment below your thoughts about this. Thank you for watching.